Welcome to Enchanted Lore. Last week we talked about some of the challenges that you would face with your creativity and how a solution you could find is within your very own community and how they can offer assistance to you. In today's video, we want to talk about something a little bit different, in which how you can find inspiration in the world around you. And this is how I found helpful in overcoming writer's block, right? And it's funny, to draw upon this inspiration, sometimes you just need to go outside to your very own backyard. You know, it's not some places, for some people, not very far. You could just go down to your local national park or anything of the sorts. And this is a place of world and wonder that you can build upon. So, for example, the first place that I want to talk about briefly is, let's take a look at this image of Penrith Castle. And we've seen there's tons and tons of castles out there in the world of different styles, different shapes and sizes and conditions. But when looking at this image, you can't help but feel a tinge of imagination and inspiration. As you see here, that here lies the ruins of a castle. And you have to but begin to wonder and think as what happened. So in my story, when I see this, okay, so the adventurers come across these ruins. Was this ruins of an old battle site? Was this abandoned? Is it haunted or cursed? You know, these are different things that you can ask and think about as you see this castle in such location. Another example of how you could draw inspiration from the world is look at creatures. And we have many, many strange and marvelous creatures within this world. For example, look at this thing. This is the pangolin. This is a weird but awesome looking creature. Look at him. He's got like armored plates. He looks like he can curl up in a ball and stuff. It's just awesome looking. And so by me looking at that, thinking I can create either a monster inspired by that or perhaps a pet for the druid or something like that, for that the adventurers come across. But like if a monster, he could have those plates for armor and then he could roll around and, do these fast movement attacks against, the adventurers. So there's different things that you can see. And then he has these claws that maybe helps him dig or slash. So these are things that I would notice and draw upon when creating a monster. Another location that you could find is this of temple ruins. And look at this image of the famous temple that is in Indonesia, in Cambodia. Just how it's all hidden beneath, the vegetation. And there's other places in the world that's just like that. But as I look upon this image, I can't help but feel it's like, oh, this is like an adventure for like Tomb Raider, that Lara Croft would go on. Or perhaps, our characters are going to go in there and who knows what they're going to find in there. Perhaps some forgotten and lost relic. Or perhaps they're going to face some curses and some undead. So once again, just look at the world around you. Another fun one that we found was a very peculiar thing that I learned about recently. And that was a video of reverse waterfalls. Every once in a while, in certain places around the world, it gets very, very windy, and the conditions are just right to where the waterfall, instead of going down like normal, the wind pushes it up and kind of blows it backwards, up and backwards, and thus producing this reverse waterfall sort of effect and visual. It is really weird looking, but you can think about that for your adventure, for your stories or what have you. So maybe the travelers come along and it's this place that is perpetually windy, and there's this mountainous area, and you could describe how there is, this waterfall that's just kind of this reverse waterfall, but because of how the wind is constantly blowing, it never truly comes down, and it's just kind of perpetually that way, and it's known for that location. Or you could go for like a more magical kind of weird effect. So that area, because of how it was, is that where a battle took place between these deities, and it crashed and split the earth in that area. And so then there's these weird magical effects that happens there, that you sometimes see these anomalies of these sorts. And I said, there's just all sorts of places that you can go and draw inspiration. We went to a location to where it had these trails, and it's just through these kind of mountainous, foresty area, and it just kind of had this mystical kind of feel to it, this where you could imagine that you could see like elves or fae, or perhaps just a trail that the adventurers have to go through. Another location is if you get to experiences stuff from the universe, participating and seeing a solar eclipse. That is such a weird thing, and you can see how that can have historical effects, and maybe that you can draw upon that, of how certain rituals and weirdness of effects like that, or just the inspiration of staring up at the night sky and just seeing the different formations, just letting your mind wander. But anyway, the point of this is that slow down, take a look at the world around you and draw inspiration and build upon it, and go and let your imagination be free. There are so many neat things, whether you see it online or you go visit it in person. So that's it for today. We hope that you draw inspiration and you are able to create something fun and wonderful.